Hey Clashers, the best and easiest attack strategy for every single Bitter Hole level, starting on Bitter Hole level 3 all the way up to Bitter Hole level 10. And I will show you always the army, and I will explain to you how to use that strategy with a quick example of how I use that strategy on my own on this specific Bitter Hole level. But before we're starting into all of that, a quick reminder: if you want to buy anything from the in-game shop, like offers, Gold Pass, and so on, make sure to use your favorite content creator code out there because it supports us a lot. Click on the little C on the top right side to put in the code, and if you would like to support me, it is code iTzu. But now let's start with the Bitter Hole level 3. And we don't have that many troops, so let's just go with Giants and Archers. Giants are just insane for Bitter Hole level 3. It is pretty crazy. A really nice mix you can do is just putting Archer and 2 Giants. If the base is super wide and super open, what you can do as well is just 3 Giants, but it's always a bit more risky for the second star, so it's up to you. On this specific example, we're going in with 3 Archers, which are non-stop cleaning things up and dealing nice damage to defenses, whatever, which are getting tanked by the Giants. The Crusher is one of your biggest opponents, okay? One of your biggest enemies of the Giants, so make sure that you can maybe sometimes take it out early or play 1 Giant directly onto the Crusher to have the bonus damage, or just use the ability as I just did, because Giants not taking any damage, that is pretty good. The next defense, which you can tank nicely with the ability of the Giant, is the double cannon. The Crusher and the double cannon, those are your biggest threats when it's coming down to Bitter Hole 3 and damage, which can dealt towards your Giants. Otherwise, your Giants are going to tank a lot, and that's how you can 3-star really easily on Bitter Hole 3. Bitter Hole 4. Next Bitter Hole, we have now the Bomber, and we have the Baby Dragon, okay? On this one, we're going to go with the Giant, Archer, Bomber, and the Baby Dragon. And what we do with this is that we're trying to have like a dive of a couple of troops into the base to take down as many air targeting defenses as possible. If the base is open, again, you can replace the Bomber with another Giant, okay? So you have 2 Giants and then 1 Archer and then the 1 Baby Dragon. The Bomber is just to get into the base to take down as many different defenses as possible, which can target air, Archer towers, the air bombs, the air cracker, like the firecracker, the air defense, and so on. Like, all of those are great targets to go for. If you can even pick up the Tesla, that's even better. After that, you just want to clean things up with that Baby Dragon. Typically, there's like 1 or 2 defenses left standing, which you can take down with your Baby Dragon. Just make sure that you use the ability wise of that Baby Dragon to just get the splash in. A lot of times, the ability where you want to use it, or the timing you want to use it, is where as many buildings are close together as possible, because just the splash is incredible in how much damage it deals. After that, after every single defense is down, which can target air, we can just speed through the rest of the attack because it is going to be our next 3-star. Again, a really solid, really good, and a really easy strategy to pull off. And already a quick spoiler, we will see the Baby Dragon quite a few times today in this video. But let's just move on to the next Bitter Hole level, and we have Bitter Hole level 5, where the Battle Machine unlocks. It's a similar approach. This time though, we're not using Archers anymore. Instead, we're using the new Cannon card. The Cannon card is amazing. You can use it in many different ways, and especially to snipe down defenses. A lot of times though, base builders are playing their defenses that it's really rough to get anywhere a lot of value. And this one, for example, well, the right side looks pretty nice because we cannot range the cannon, but I'm scared of traps. And with this army capacity which we have, we do not have the room, the troop space, the army camp space to bring like barbarians or something to trigger traps. So instead, what I like to do is use the battle machine to actually tank for my cannon card like 1 defense. And after that, just put the cannon card into mortar mode and have it separate working while my main push is just diving into the base. We have the Giant tanking again, we have the battle machine going strong as well, and then again, as soon as most of the air targeting defenses are down, that's where you can send the Baby Dragon in to really finish off the base to get a nice 3-star overall. But let's just wait for now if we can make it actually work on this one. We have the cannon card not really doing anything. I'm not deciding so far to like put it back into the other mode, and this is something you have to learn when to switch the mode of the cannon card, because sometimes you want to have the cannon cart being stuck as the mortar to not get in range too much, to stay alive as long as possible and really come in then when it's really important. So kind of as it is right now, I now put the cannon cart back into the melee, like into the short range mode, where I'm tanking the archer tower and really make sure that the defending firecracker is going down. Another important thing you might not know about the cannon cart is that it deals more damage when in the non-mortar mode, because the attack speed is higher. So overall the DPS is higher when you are out of mortar mode. So sometimes, especially if you're driving too close to a defense which can outrange you, then it's sometimes better to switch back to the regular mode and not to the mortar mode, because it just has more burst damage. Overall it was close, but with this one you should always have really successful attacks and really solid percentages, with having a really nice chance of getting those 3 stars. And now we're getting to the first builder hall level, where we have overall 2 stages. And a lot of baby dragons. Baby dragons are right now overall, I think over all of the different builder hall level, just the strongest troop. It is just insane how strong it is, how consistent it is, how good it is on pretty much most of the different bases, and really important, how easy it is to use. How do you combine it though with the cannon cart now? I really like to combine those two to snipe down an archer tower, for example, or like a mortar or something which might be exposed, and then use the mortar mode to really get a lot of value. This is kind of what I'm looking for with this approach, and this works on a lot of different builder hall level. So let's now take a look at this one. We have the mortar, just keep it going for those defenses. On this base though, we have a lot of air targeting stuff, which means as soon as we get through this builder hall level, or like this first stage, we should have a really easy way of taking down the second one. But the first one is not going to be easy, especially with the really deep inside firecrackers. This is like one of the most optimal setups versus the strategy, where I feel like it's really good to show as well how the strategy is performing when they're having to face one of the, well, overall worst setups you can think of. For now, right now, we're looking good. You always try to spread the damage. This is really important. With the firecracker now on my baby dragon, I'm just going to play the next baby dragon then, to make sure the firecracker has to kind of choose the target, and then as soon as the next baby dragon is getting closer in range for the second firecracker, that's where I'm then going to send in another baby dragon. You can see as soon as the second firecracker starts shooting, that's when I'm sending in the next baby dragon. The baby dragon are just so incredibly strong with their abilities. Just make sure that when using the abilities, they are on their own. Otherwise, the ability is doing less damage, because their bonus damage when they're isolated is actually working and combining the power of their active ability. So you always want to make sure that you're using it when it's alone, the baby dragon. On this one, it looks close, right? Like we have the hero alive, we have the cannon cart alive. But remember, we just had to face a base which used all of the firecrackers in the first stage, so it's a really big nightmare for our specific strategy, but yet we were able to get to the second stage, which is all the important thing and everything which matters. Because what we do now, since we have only archer towers left, is what we can do now, just tank those, and then make sure that we can pick up the remaining defenses and overall like buildings with our baby dragon. As soon as the archer towers are tanked, I'm going to play the baby dragon to just finish things off. Cannon cart on just somewhere, kinda. You can just put it behind the king as well if you want to, depending on how much risk you want to take, because there might be a lot of traps on this side, right? You never know. Right now, I feel like there is no rush for me to turn the mortar mode back of the cannon cart, because there might be, and there are actually traps, so we are too close. What I told you, I was able to get too close to the tester, so they were able to actually catch my cannon cart. So what I do instead is turn it into a shorter range mode, because this is where it deals more damage, to just get more damage out. And in the end, it's going to be an important thing, because this has been decided, or like this was the deciding factor on why we get this 3-star in the end. One more time, the king ability, or the battle machine ability, and this means we're getting those first 6 stars. Insanely strong strategy you can go for, and it's just really, really, really powerful. It's the exact same strategy though we're going to use for Builder Hall 7. Not too much is changing. Yes, we have like maybe a new troop or something, but baby dragons are just way too consistent overall if you are looking for like a default strategy. Again, we're doing this exact same approach, okay? We're taking down an archer tower with our baby dragon, and well, if someone is crazy enough to use like a short range archer tower, you don't have to take them out. You can just play your cannon cart, okay? So if you're now wondering, it's what is happening if I have to face a base which is using short range archer tower. Should I still try to snipe it? No, you only have to snipe defenses which can outrange your cannon cards, and that is on Bitter Hall level 7. That's the multi-mortar, that is the archer towers on long range, that is obviously traps being always a big threat, and the giant cannon. Those are pretty much your main targets you have to worry about, otherwise you're pretty much looking fine. As my cannon card is working on the bottom side, we can now send in the king. The king is, or like the battle machine is a really important thing, especially in those 2-stage attacks below Bitter Hall 8, because as soon as we're getting to Bitter Hall 8, we have always the 2 heroes to choose from. So even if one of the heroes are going down in the first stage, we have the second one then for the second stage. So overall, this means Bitter Hall 6, Bitter Hall 7, you need to keep your battle machine alive at all costs. It would be a huge bonus to keep it alive. So what you have to do is always protect it. As soon as there's too much damage on your battle machine, play troops to take down the damage, and as well don't send the battle machine into like high damage areas, like double cannons for example, or crushers are your biggest nightmare. For us right now, again, I keep the mortar at the bottom side in the mortar mode, because otherwise it would have gotten into the range of the giant cannon, and this would have been bad for us. On this one, we do not have as many firecrackers in the first stage and as well placed, which means for us that, well, we have a pretty easy setup then for the second stage. And you can see how powerful the strategy looks like if everything goes to plan. We're now going to use a baby dragon to scout for traps, because remember, you have to learn how many defenses are on every single Bitter Hall level. If you're right now Bitter Hall 7 player, you should know that we have not seen all of the Tesla in the first stage, which means there are Tesla in the second stage. So I'm just going to invest a Baby Dragon, which already lost the ability, so it's not as useful anymore. I'm just going to invest that to scout for traps for my cannon card. At this point, the cannon card taking down another Tesla, which is another air targeting defense. Then I'm just going to send my battle machine in to tank that arch tower. At this point, it's the same story again, just use baby dragons to kind of support that battle machine, take damage off it, and it's going to be fine. You're going to get the next 6-star. As I said, this strategy can be pretty much used on Bitter Hall 6 all the way up to Bitter Hall 10. Don't worry, I will show you different strategies as well, but if you're wondering, this strategy can you pretty much use always. It is just incredibly powerful. This setup works really, really well, and especially in the beginning, no one really is going to defend that. So, easy stars for you. Next one, let's get to Bitter Hall level, that's right, 8. Bitter Hall level 8 is next. On this one, we're going to go more on the heavy ground side, because we have no lava launcher just yet, so we can abuse that, and we have 2 heroes. So if the battle machine goes down in the first attack, it's not too big of a problem. Same approach though first, taking down a long range archer tower with a baby dragon, then a cannon card right behind it to get some value. On this attack, what you're looking for, while we look for firecrackers or like the air bombs with a baby dragon heavy attack, on this one what you're looking for is the Mega Tesla. The Mega Tesla has actually a shorter range, and that's why it's so good to use this strategy on this Bitter Hall level, because the Mega Tesla with the shorter range cannot outrange that cannon card. And this means just give it some time. It will make up for it. It's going to do great. Just move it into a smaller range and then just turn it into mortar mode again, as you would be outranged from other defenses. And for us right now, it's taking down defenses or buildings on the outside and defenses on the inside. We have already gotten the air bombs, which is not as problematic because we're having a mainly ground push. But what is even more important, as soon as the mechanic card is going to drive into this gap, it can outrange the Mega Tesla. And this is then go time for us for our next stage. At this point, something you should always go for is at 50 seconds. This should be kind of like the last time where you're starting with your main attack. 50 seconds, if you're going way later, you will run into time issues. Now we're starting from the top right. The reason why we're starting from the top right is because this now means on the back end, that at the left side corner, there is no air targeting defenses left pretty much, which means we can then later play the Baby Dragon to speed things up a little bit. For us right now, with our battle machine in the mix, we want to wait to charge all the way up to level 3 ability. Use the ability then while we have the cannon card working at the bottom side. We see we have the bomber alive and everything. So looking great for us, looking amazing for us actually. And we're getting the first stage out of the way with a lot of troops still left. And as you can see, this time around we have the battle machine alive. If it went down, you can easily use just the air hero, like the flying copter, to get more value than in the second stage. For us right now, again, we're just staying with more baby dragons because they're just so powerful. And now we're using the giant. It is not as useful anymore. As soon as those troops are losing their abilities in the first stage, you can just use them for scouting purposes and whatever, as we just did with the baby dragon for Builder Hall 7. You can just use them for scouting purposes or like tanking purposes or whatever, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now with that giant and now the baby dragon behind with the cannon core, and we're getting the archer tower out of the way. At this point now, I'm kind of messing up. I was not expecting the cannon already to be able to shoot me from that angle. And this means, well, the cannon is staying alive. I have lost the cannon core for pretty much no reason because I was able to take down all of the defenses which can outrange it. But you really need to get good at those cannon core range managements. It's like such a crucial thing with this strategy and overall in Builder Hall. Like cannon cards are just so crazy strong if you can manage them. And now we just push in. We use the baby dragon to take damage away from our troops. Ability, like the 3-star, like the 3 ability, whatever you want to name it. And then we're doing some more damage onto the firecrackers, and as soon as that's down, it should be good to go for us. Bomber doing a nice job in the beginning of giving us access into the base. At this point, obviously, it's not as useful anymore because it's only going for those walls at the top side. But it's going to be a close one, but it's going to be a 6-star in the end. Those pushes are just working so great. Again though, Builder Hall 8, you could just use the exact same army which we just had on Builder Hall 6 and 7. We just want to have some difference in here and some different variations, and the same thing now for Builder Hall 9. On Builder Hall 9, you can keep going with those baby dragons, but I just want to share some different options for you as well. If you're, for example, a ground attacker or people who like ground. Overall, there's a lot of valid options, but I think Hog Gliders are really strong as well. Something you can do is just send your battle machine, the giant, and the P.E.K.K.A. in with some hog gliders. The crazy thing is why this is so good compared to like the old builder base is that you can really go crazy with those dives. Even if your troops are going down, like the giant and the battle machine and the P.E.K.K.A., it does not matter because you're getting reinforcement troops in the second stage, and you have a second hero you can use in the second stage as well, so it's even crazier. With the giant together, your battle machine is going to get all the way to the 3rd level of its ability, and it's going to deal massive damage. The next thing you have to consider with hog gliders is always prefer of saving hogs instead of just wasting them for cleanup, okay? At this point I could just play the hog glider, the last one, right? Like anywhere. But with that being said, it would lose the stun ability on this next stage, which is not what I would like to have, right? I would like to have a hog glider with the stun ability for the next stage, and that is really important to consider when doing those attacks. If you have time, don't waste it for time, but at the I mean, if you would time fail, then yes, use it. Otherwise, if you think you're fine on time, just don't use it. Right here, we have 30 seconds left roundabout. This should be no problem whatsoever for us to get those first stars in, the first 3 stars in the first stage cleared. So this means I do not have to use the hog glider, and then can use it for the second stage. Right now, hogs are keep going, so let's get for the next stage, and this is now the option. Even if my battle machine would have went down, we still have the other hero, and this is what makes this so strong and so viable. Now though, let's switch to the air hero. One thing which is really, really strong is just taking down a specific power and avoiding a lot of damage because of the long range. So with this one we see, yes, there's the guard post, but that firecracker right behind is really exposed. The other firecrackers are just too far in the base that they cannot reach my battle machine. Or my helicopter, my flying copter. This means that the flying copter can easily take down the firecracker. I have one hog glider in the backup if I think I need to stun that defense, but I don't have to. And now I just need to get that defense out, and like the crusher, for example, and so on. I just need to give my hero a little bit of time to actually walk this entire site. As soon as that's done, I will just send my remaining hog gliders in with the actual stun effect of the other gliders combined. What does this mean? Well, if you send those hogs now in, always send a hog with 1 stun glider. What does this mean? You can burst down defense, like the double cannon, for example. 1 hog and then a glider is going to take down the double cannon pretty nicely, and I'm doing the same thing on the other defenses. Now with a couple of last firecrackers going down, my hero's looking good, except the air bombs. I just charged in a little bit too much, but there's just so many Hog Riders alive that it should be no problem. So you can see this strategy is really strong as well. It's a lot of time more complicated, but it's still one of the best strategies you can go for. But again, as I said, if you're looking for ground, this is a really good strategy. If you're looking for air, the Baby Dragons, exact same approach. Just one cannon card, then only Baby Dragons is the way to go for you, to just have a default strategy which works on the majority of bases, really solid, even sometimes get 6 stars and always high percentage. With that being said, let's get to Builder Hall level 10. And I think for Builder Hall level 10, I would just show you again the true power of this strategy with a 1 cannon card and all Baby Dragons, because I feel like we have seen it on Builder Hall level 7, but let's show it again on Builder Hall level 10, because just to make sure on how you can use it. I would kind of, to be honest, expect at some point a Baby Dragon nerf a little bit, because it's just really strong, but I will just show you again how it's done. Baby Dragon first to snipe on defense. A lot of times Archer Tower is the best way to go. On this one, it's the same thing, using the cannon card right behind to get some defense out of the way, and then you can just go for the next step. At this point, it always depends on the base, if you're going with the flying copter or with your battle machine. It's totally up to you, really based depending what hero you are going to use. If you're using the ground hero, the battle machine, then you want to tank defenses for your Baby Dragons, or you want to take down some defenses for your Baby Dragons, one of those two options if something exposed. Otherwise, what you can do, again, you can let the Battlecopter work for quite some time and get a lot of value. For us right now, I'm taking down one of the Firecrackers because I was able to get the Battlecopter right on it. And this now means I can create pathing, okay? It's not always only about like the buildings you get down, because I get the ground expo down, right? And that is not that massive. I mean, the ground expo for a Baby Dragon attack is not as important, to be honest. But what is important is that with taking those out and the Mega Tesla as well, I can then target a lot of other defenses directly, like the air bombs, like the other Firecracker, and so on. Right now, I keep my mortar in that place, because otherwise it would get taken down by the expo or by the multi-mortar, and you need to make sure that this cannon card is staying alive. Now Baby Dragons just circle the base. It's a super quick attack, so you can wait quite a bit, and then as soon as the cannon card is safe, you can just put it again to the short range. On our attack, we're not really losing the hero. It was super close, but we have again the chance of switching that battle machine, or switching to the battle machine to have full HP back. Now we just keep going with Baby Dragons. Just keep going with Baby Dragons. It's just the way to go if you want to have an easy approach on most bases. On this one, using the ground hero, the battle machine, to tank the Archer Tower, because I think I could be able to, or like should be able to take down the Archer Tower and the Firecracker together. I can't really take down the Archer Tower with just one Baby Dragon, so I have to use the battle machine to tank for that. And there's even a Tesla on top of that, so I can take down Tesla, Archer Tower, and Firecracker, all of that together with my cannon card, using the hero ability to get some more value, and then I can hopefully take down the remaining defenses to get a nice 6-star with my Baby Dragons, because I just have so many of them alive. Cannon card going for that Firecracker, looking good. We can now first sending in those Baby Dragons. The trick for Baby Dragons is just to try to use as many of them at the same time, while, and that's really important, don't just spam them in, while at the same time not losing the ability, the raged up ability of them. If you can manage to do that, and if you're getting good at that, Baby Dragons are just looking so strong. You can see I'm just getting more and more of them in, circling the base kind of with that, and always reinforcing where defenses are exposed. And another thing which is really good, you can just snipe those Zappies right away, if they would even matter in this attack. With that being said, a nice playstyle for us. I hope I was able to share for every single bit of level you play a nice strategy to copy. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys back tomorrow with the next one. Until then, see ya and bye bye.